I've been involved with conservation for 30 years of my life. My children grew up in the bush, I've grown up in the bush. This very special place stays within your spirit. Africa is a very complex continent. It's a place where you find your inner self. It's a place of peace, but it can also be very violent. Mozambique has become quite famous, and for all the wrong reasons. Mozambique is a nest. It's one of the most dangerous areas that house wanted men that have killed and murdered people in South Africa. The syndicates, the kingpins behind the most amount of rhino slaughtered in the Kruger National Park, they are based in Mozambique. The dam is used for poachers taking boats up into the Olifants Gorge, which they will then penetrate the Kruger Park. South of that is all three-man teams going in, heavily armed. We've already had 5 insurgencies into Kruger in one day. You actually realize that we are behind enemy lines. They are here. We are basically in their territory. We're basically in their backyard. We would identify who these role players are by the vehicles they drive, by the clothes they wear, the shoes they wear. They give themselves away when they either hide their faces or they look at you with some sort of aggression. Top of the range vehicles. The buildings, you can see this is out of place because there's no way the business in and around Mozambique can generate that type of economy. It can only be rhino horn, only rhino horn. So we are sitting in an area that is responsible for a high percentage of rhinos being lost in the Kruger National Park. There are no rhino here. The reserves in Mozambique are being used as springboards into the Kruger National Park. It is sad to wander through those areas and there are no rhino. And it's sad. It's almost an eerie quietness without the squeals of rhino. Sometimes I would be walking in the bush and think, how would it be great to see just a midden and nothing. It's empty. The shock to the system is real, and I would not imagine if that ever happens in South Africa, because there they still have these beautiful beasts walking around. So the reality is set in here, and it's sad. It makes the place sad not having rhino. We are acting as a buffer and a stopper for insurgents in and out of the Kruger National Park. There are armed insurgents inside of national parks and reserves, and therefore it is a war. We can't name it anything else. Rangers are being shot, rangers are wounded, poachers are shot, there's fatalities. We've seen that happen. A contact with a rhino poacher is in your face. It's loud. He's either going to find a horn or already has a horn. If he already has a horn, because of the high income that he can get for that, he's not going to give that horn up easily. He is going to fight. It's very traumatic. And I can tell you, if anybody tells me that they're not scared, then they are not normal. A lot of our team members out there, many suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder. People talk to me about human rights of poachers and human rights of this and that. I believe that if you shoot a rhino or you shoot or poach an elephant, you lose your human rights. For me, human rights go to the little kids out in these communities where people don't even know they exist. The women that are bearing children out in the bush and cutting the umbilical cord off with a rusted knife. She's got human rights. We need to look after those people. But a person that comes in here that knows full well that what they are doing is absolutely wrong, they lose their human rights. People are desperate out here, but they still aren't picking up arms to kill rhino. It's greed. Greed and money and material things got nothing to do with people living out here that are hungry. There's syndicates, the Vietnamese are involved. We all know that. It's rich middlemen. They don't give a damn about the poor man that they approach in the village here to say, here's a rifle, here's $10,000, go and shoot a rhino. And unfortunately, when that man crosses the boundary and he points a rifle at any of these men, there's consequences. When we deal with this type of situation, we have to make sure that the anti-poaching unit that will be operating in this environment has to be well organized, well equipped, and we have to have a high caliber of person. We've taken them from previous military backgrounds, special forces people. Those are the type of people that we have as our permanent base. We bring in our anti-poaching teams. They do not have any connection to any of the community here. That is vital. The opportunity to bring in ex-military vets from different countries who want to get involved with conservation. We bring those men in as volunteers. They assist us with updated training, advice, and they also are involved with patrols. So we're bringing in specialists from specialist forces, ex-forces, to join our group here in Mozambique. Many people ask me, Mark, what do you do with the poachers when you see them? And my remark to them is, we don't shake their hands. We're not here to hug and kiss poachers. We're here to protect rhino and wildlife. If anybody crosses into this property with a weapon or is armed or has got dogs, we will take a very hard-armed approach to any poacher coming through this reserve. They unfortunately might get hurt. We spend 3 or 4 days on the outset of our operation with just training, mentoring, support, and getting the cobwebs cleaned away. They were well briefed for a couple of days, but I can tell you when they arrived here, the reality set in. It's a totally different environment from where they are. We're very happy that we have the people that we have to do the training. The learning curve is extremely steep, but also the level of training is extremely high. Your life would depend on that. You're also having to think about your team members at all times. They all look after each other. It's a lot of planning, a lot of coordination. The equipment in itself that we have at this base, we're looking at in the region of $25,000 to $30,000. And that is to make sure that we are one step ahead of who we're dealing with, because we're dealing with a very clever, bushwise adversary. So we have to make sure that every man is well equipped with binoculars, firearm, GPS unit, night vision, first aid kits and so forth. These are the men and women on the ground in Africa today to save wildlife. COALFACE is an organization that was formed so we could continue supporting the anti-poaching unit teams on the ground. We looked at supplying not only ourselves but other anti-poaching units with well-trained canine units.
We've got a long-lasting relationship with COALFACE. We assist them by training human scent tracking dogs, as well as imprinting the dogs on arms and ammunition, rhino horn and ivory. Then the dogs get sent out into the field, into the reserves. We train for a month on the ground with the rangers. We bond the dog to the ranger. We form a close bond with the whole team. And then we worked with them, training them, equipping them with everything that they need in order to perform their job at the best quality. We understand that these dogs look cuddly, they're soft, they're friendly, but make no mistake, they have been trained and will attack a poacher without hesitation. These dogs are my children. They've grown up with me. I've watched them right from the beginning, right from socialization from 6 weeks old. I've been with them every step of the way, and to hand them over is difficult, but I know that they are doing a job that no other dog can do.
Our rangers, our team members and community welfare is a very important part of our organisation. We've looked at the schools regarding water, sanitation and so forth. We go into the community to build a bridge. We meet the elders, we get the community together. We've already introduced our team to the community. They know exactly what we're doing here. We've told them it's about economy, it's about tourism, and it's about employment opportunities. They understand that very well. And every time a poacher comes in here and kills an animal or slaughters a rhino somewhere else, they are actually stealing from those communities. Without the community buy-in, you might as well shut shop and go home. Because out of the community comes our information, out of the community comes the informants that we need. We're a stopper and buffer for people going in and out of Kruger. So it puts us at a different level than some of the guys in other areas. It's a difficult place, it's hard, it's dangerous, and these guys are risking their lives here. The men and women on the front lines inspire me to get out of my bed every day to understand or to work out what am I going to do for Rhino today? What am I going to do for conservation today? That is what inspires me. And you feel encouraged by the successes. A poacher that's been arrested. There's a number of things that make me emotional. The little kids in the communities that don't have proper classrooms. Handing out birthing kits to the women in the community is something that makes me extremely happy. You have to be totally committed and dedicated to what you do in this environment and in this type of field. Because if you're not, you are going to fall apart. That's why you have to be strong in your belief and in your dedication to what you do, and that is saving wildlife. One of our goals is to take poachers and transform them into conservation people. And that for us is very important, because I believe, and we've done it before, I believe that we want to create that opportunity where poachers are able to see and believe that they can become good conservators. And bringing Rhino back into Mozambique, that would be my greatest dream come true. To see Rhino walking in Mozambique, that the people of Mozambique are able to appreciate wildlife back in their country. That would be the ultimate dream come true. This is the start of developing a unit here, a base, and from there we'll expand to other areas. But just being here, we need a fridge and freezer. We need a new radio system, a vehicle, 1 or 2 off-road motorbikes for quick access and so forth. It's an ongoing process. We are a private organisation. We do not have the same resources as a government or national park would get. They get huge amounts of resources, either financially or otherwise. So where does your heart lie? What do you feel? How are you going to step up? Are you going to take the baton? Are you going to tell your children that you did something? So people today, I ask with a sincerity that we step up together to tackle this problem together internationally. Get involved through funding, through equipment, through presentations, through talks, through whatever we can do to save our flagship species, the rhino of Africa.